So on this fork, we've taken it off the bike. I've put it in the vise, grabbed it with a couple pieces of wood so we don't damage it. And we're going to use the same technique. I'm going to go ahead and heat this up with the heat gun. You can actually see our bolt here in the bottom of the fork that we took out on the other fork, and we're going to just break it off apart on the bench. I like to do this on the bench. It's a little bit easier. Things are a little bit more manageable to control. So we're just going to do it, but it's the same basic disassembly technique. Alright, so I've been heating the fork up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and kill the heat gun, and I'm going to crack the bolt loose here. So I'm going to go ahead and kill the gun. I'm going to put it aside over here. Okay, my Allen bolt in the end. Put some pressure on it, and 1, 2, 3. Ah, didn't break loose. Just tell. Now, see how it's turning? I have even pressure on it. Means we did not get this one to break loose, so we're going to have to take this apart. You guys can get the full treatment. Yeah, it's not letting go. Okay? Plan C. We're going to take our top off. Cap beside it. There's our spring, covered in oil. Fantastic. Spring. There. And we'll go ahead and just drain the oil out of it, and we can take off that old chewed up boot. Throw him away. See how the fork wants to drop now because there's no spring in it. So we'll go ahead and drain the oil out like we did before. There it goes. Okay, that's most of it. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in just to keep any extra dribbles from coming out as we're working on the fork. Okay, well, we're going to make a tool, or assemble a tool, to hold the top of the dampening rod so we can break the bolt loose in the bottom. Alright, so let's kind of talk about what's happening here at the fork. So we saw that the bolt was spinning and it wasn't kind of loosening up. We didn't get the crack. And so here's our other dampening rod, and here's our bolt screwed into the end of it. Essentially when we crack it loose, we're trying to crack the bolt so it starts to remove from this dampening rod. What's happening in this fork is the whole assembly is spinning. And if the whole thing is spinning and we can't get this to pop loose, it'll just keep spinning and spinning. So what has to happen is we have to hold this rod in place so we can break the bolt loose. And if we look at the top side of it here, well, there's not a whole lot there to grab into. It actually has this kind of tapered orifice here. Some other forks, like on Suzuki's and Kawasaki's, they have a different shape, like hexes in here, and there's a tool to hold it, but unfortunately the Hondas, we don't have that. So I'm going to improv a tool. I'm going to use a small 1/4" drive socket here, but most importantly, see how the socket has kind of a taper on it, or the thinner here and a wider down here. And I went and found one that fits in here pretty well. I guess this one is going to be a, I think it's a, what is it, 6mm? This happens to be a Craftsman socket. And I put some masking tape on it, and basically what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get the press in there, I'm going to wedge it in, and the tape helps wedge it in. I'm going to use a long extension. If you don't have a long one, you can stack up a couple other ones. And then I'm using a small little 1/4" breaker bar here, but again, that 1/4" socket would work. And essentially I'm going to tap this into place to hold the top while I use my other wrench on the bottom over here to break it loose. So we're trying to hold it on either end. This might happen to you, so this is a technique I've figured out that's really easy to improv, and again, we're not making any special tools, we're just kind of modifying kind of what we have already. So let's set it up and see if we can get this thing to break loose. So our 6mm wasn't working, so we're going to step it up to a 1/4", which is just a little bit bigger in the diameter. See if we can get it to wedge in there. Same drill. Try it again. That's the center there. I also put a small extension on the end here. Some more room. So that feels better. It's wedged in there. All right. Yeah, that's it right there. Oh, that one's all crusty, look at that. Okay, there's our stubborn bolt. Okay. Just like that. And of course now we can whittle this apart. We just had to have something to hold it. Got it over there. There's our dampening rod. Now we got to wiggle this out here in a minute, but yeah, that's what was stuck. Alright, so we got the fork apart, and the last thing to take out is actually going to be the seal. And there's a snap ring in here. It's just kind of a wire snap ring. I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver. Just pop it out. Come on. There it is, right there. Just like that. See how it has this little indentation there? That's for the screwdriver to pop into. So take it out, put it aside, and now I'm going to actually use a pry bar with a wide lip on it, and we're going to work the seal out. And so we're going to do this technique where I kind of go one direction, and then 180, and then 90, and then 90, and gently pry on it, because sometimes they come right out, and other times they're in there. So that way. There it goes. See how it's starting to come out? I'm not going too, I'm moving on the pry bar, but I'm not, probably not super hard. It's probably just come out from here. Come on. Come on. There it goes. Alright. There's our old fork seal coming out right there. So we're going to toss that out. And we want to make sure that we didn't kind of chew up the surface in here. We took that old seal out. Everything looks pretty good. It's like garbage and goo in there. And we'll get everything cleaned up and ready to put back together. So. Okay, that's most of it. I'm going to go ahead and put this back in just to keep any extra